So in the brand new update, Tycoon did just add the M14 Himars ATACMS, and I'm gonna be honest, this thing is pretty strong in many different ways, but in some it's rather also pretty weak. So today I'm actually gonna be going over this thing and overall damage testing it based on how strong this thing is and how useful it's gonna be in the meta. But anyway, this vehicle's base stats are going to be 1400 health and a speed of 40. When you max it out, it's gonna be having 1820 health and 52 speed. While its part requirement is only going to be 7 parts. And by the way, before we start this video, make sure to join my Discord server. I am currently hosting the giveaway for the F-45I. So firstly, actually moving into these missiles damage against planes and helis. And as many of you guys can probably already expect, it will be able to one-tap the F-35, and it will also be able to do just that against the Mi-24 Super Hind. And it does create, once again, its own nuke explosion, which personally I feel like it could have done some different visual effects for this explosion rather than actually using a nuke. But anyway, the next vehicle which we're going to be testing this against is actually going to be the Striker Shorad, which is on the higher end in terms of health for ground vehicles, and this is going to matter a little bit more as I explain it, but it will not actually be able to one-shot it. However, it will be able to get it extremely low. And right here, if I use it against something like perhaps the gun truck, it will also be able to almost kill it and actually leave it at 2%, which is pretty insane. And the reason why I'm saying this is because as you kind of approach the lower end of vehicles, this thing is going to start being able to actually one-tap them, which is what actually makes it pretty insane. And keep in mind that most vehicles in this game are most likely going to be battle damaged, so most of the time you're probably going to be one-shotting a lot of ground vehicles with this. Now, if we move into the damage that it does against the Abrams X, which has been recently buffed by the way, it will be able to get it down to around 30 or so percent health, 30 to 35% on average, while its damage against something like a Bradley, which is on the lower end in terms of health, it will be able to leave it around 2% once again. So this thing overall will be able to one-shot vehicles in a lot of cases, but the vehicles on the higher end, it will probably not be able to one-tap most of the time. Now, if we move into the damage that it does actually do against Zumwalt, it's not really the best, but it will be able to take away at least 20% away from it. And keep in mind that this is maxed out vehicles versus maxed out vehicles in this video. Now, another few things which I'd like to also show you guys is going to actually be the overall distance which the missile can travel. So overall, as you guys can see, this thing is able to travel at least to the other side of the map, which I say is overall a pretty good travel distance of the missile. And this thing does also move pretty fast, so it's pretty easy to actually catch your targets. And keep in mind that the vehicles no longer disappear from distance away, which is obviously going to be meaning that you're going to be able to really reach anybody on the map. But anyway, the next few things which I'd like to show you, which are pretty unbalanced, which I know a lot of ground mains are going to absolutely hate. Basically every single building in your base is not going to be safe. Let me just say this, you'll be able to destroy everybody except for people inside of the main base. This thing will be able to pierce the main tank building, you'll be able to pierce the top of the oil building, it'll be able to kill people inside the garage, and even in the bunker when they're hiding in some of the most unpredictable places, this thing will always be able to hit you. And the overall playstyle which you're probably going to want to have for this thing, it's never going to be fighting the person head on, obviously. You probably just want to camp behind like a hill and just sit there and constantly use these missiles, which I think is going to be the most viable strategy for this vehicle. Of course, if you do get caught, you're most likely going to be dead, but in general I really do like the overall design of this vehicle and how it actually works. It's definitely extremely powerful, but I wouldn't exactly say that it's one of the best vehicles in the game as a whole. It's definitely OP in a lot of ways, but it does also have a lot of downsides. Anyway, for the time being, I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a great rest of your day, and thank you so much to all my channel members.